Hey everyone, Prof Sales here with another live vlog, excuse me. And I just wanted to give you guys all an update on how yesterday went, which was the first day of Gene's sourcing extravaganza. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Let me move these chat rooms around here a little. So if you got any comments or so on, please leave them over in the chat box. It is open, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you've had so far. But I wanted to tell you what my experiences were yesterday, which was the first day that I went out on sourcing for jeans, at least the first day I've had in a while. Excuse me, I'm a little congested again. Not sure why. It's always this time of day. The perils of living in the South, I guess, right? Hang on. So yeah, I just published a video about my spreadsheet. So of course I'm going to be keeping track of all my jeans results so you guys can see my progress. So there's going to be a lot of transparency around this. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to hide the good, the bad, and the ugly. You'll be able to look at the numbers, make your own assessment of whether they make sense or whether they make sense for you, whether it's worth it or not. Of course, I'm going to be looking at them as well. So, go ahead and, check out the that spreadsheet video I just posted. It's really short. It's only about 6.5, 7 minutes long. And you can see how I'm going to be tracking everything that's going to happen with these jeans. So I'm really curious how that's going to work. Make sure I can hear you. If you guys can hear me okay, somebody can let me know in the chat room. Should be popping up soon. Sometimes it's a little bit of a delay, but the first day of the jeans was great. I actually did not get on the road sourcing till I probably hit my first store, which is really close to me. Oh, great. You guys can hear me. Awesome. Hello, Karen. And Michael. But yeah, I didn't hear my first store yesterday until probably close to 10 o'clock, 10:15 actually. And I got home at about 5:15, 5:30. I live in the Charlotte area, and if you're familiar with Charlotte, there's a big, huge interstate that goes all the way around it called 485. It's about a 65-mile loop. So I looped all around that, or part of the way, hitting stores and so on. But it's a lot of miles to drive around it. It's just a big loop. But yeah, so basically I worked about 7 hours sourcing yesterday, but I took plenty of breaks in terms of, I stopped and answered comments for you guys on YouTube. I did that several times. I think I picked up something at the grocery store. I had to get gas. It wasn't a solid 7 hours of sourcing jeans. That being said, I still spent 7 hours out there. I hit, gosh, I don't remember, 9 stores, I think. Yeah, 9 stores. So that was pretty good. I've got more stores to hit that, are in this area. And then also, kind of my plans for going forward. I was able to pick up 84 pair. Gosh, my mind has escaped me now. I just put it on the spreadsheet. So I basically averaged just over 9 pair per store, which is pretty good for this time of year. My stores, I noticed, for the most part, have a smaller jean selection out right now than what I noticed 6 months ago. So they will definitely be building those jean inventories up over the next several weeks. As people start making their fall decisions, they'll start turning in or donating jeans, and they will get these stores will have a bigger selection of them opened up for me to shop from. So that's encouraging. So I don't know if that 9 pair of jeans is good or not per store. I think that's pretty close. I actually think it's going to be more than that, because as these stores open up these bigger sections of their stores to jeans, I should be able to add a pair or two because there will just be more inventory, right? I mean, that makes sense. 84, wow, congrats. Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm going to need to hit just over twice that a week to make this work, I think. Probably somewhere around 175. So I think I can do it. Karn and I were talking last night about ways to do that, about at least 3 other areas we know of that are nearby that we can hit. So we give our stores a chance to sort of reset to get inventory back in, so to speak. And there'll be fun little trips too. You know, we'll throw in maybe a little bit of sightseeing when we go to those other areas and so on. I mean, you know, there's no reason you can't have fun with your business as well, and you know, mix a little business and pleasure together. I think that's important, right? So we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to, you know, kind of go back and forth between other areas, then back to our area, then other areas, and back to our area. So I think this is going to work in terms of the amount of items, but we just won't know until we get out there. Michael says, do you pay about the same for jeans, all the Goodwill, similar prices? Do any of them charge more for designer brands? That's a good question. I actually pay the same in my area. They're $4.99 plus tax. There's a few Goodwills that are a little further north of me that actually charge $4.50, which is still, you know, pretty good. Do they charge you more for designer brands? Yeah, every once in a while, Goodwill will take a few pair of jeans that they think are worth more, and they'll throw them on their love rack and put maybe 10 bucks on them, 15. Sometimes it'll be ones that are actually worth something. Sometimes they'll go crazy and they'll put like, you know, 30 bucks on a pair of True Religions, which I would never pay $30 for a pair of used True Religions, unless it was just something extraordinary. But for the most part, they mix them all in. You know, they don't really fool with jeans too much in terms of pulling those out and making them separate. But it does happen from time to time. I just don't buy those. I mean, it's just that simple. There's just too many. I mean, there's hundreds sitting over there on the rack. Why am I going to waste all my time on 1 or 2 pair that are on their love rack? But I'm encouraged by the yeah, it might be Michaela, not sure, or Michael A, not sure. I'm encouraged by the overall day and how it went. I felt good. Karn and I went back out. She helped me hit a couple stores late, not late, but last night before we came back in for the evening, and that was good. It's definitely faster with 2 people if you know what you're doing and so on. You can really blow through it. Speaking of that, because I know this question might come up, and it's come up to me before. Karen has agreed to make a video on how to go through and source jeans in a store, like a strategy. Not so much about brands per se, but the actual strategy of what you do, like how you attack the store and so on, and how you go at it to try to be efficient, to try to find your items as quick as you can. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be part of that video or not. I'm leaving it up to her, but she's going to do a video. So be looking for that. Be asking for it until she does it, just in case she forgets. So you're gonna need to do that, Karen. And that way you guys will have some good tips if you do want to go through and find jeans. Just the things that we've learned after looking through just thousands and thousands of pair, just some tips and tricks and so on that hopefully will help. And honestly, you could use them for other things, not just jeans. You know, I always say, you know, part of this journey is not just to learn about jeans and be able to sell a lot of jeans and list a lot of jeans, but it's also about just becoming a better reseller, becoming better at your craft, becoming better at being able to pull things out that have value, being more efficient with your time and your energy and your resources. So that video should shed some light on how we do it. You know, I'm sure we could be better at it. There's probably people who have tips and tricks that we don't know as well, but you know, maybe it'll help you guys out. So definitely encouraged by the day. It definitely went well. I originally had planned to go out today too and source, but I'm at 100 pair right now that need to be listed. Actually 101 because I got a pair back or return. So it just goes right back in and gets relisted. So yeah, we're gonna work on trying to get these 100 up and listed and see if that can pop. The other thing is sell-through percentage is, you're going to see in the spreadsheet video I did earlier, sell-through percentage is everything. My goal is to sell 1% per day of all my listings. So if I have 100 listings, I'd want to sell at least one. If I have 200, I want to sell two, so on and so forth. That's where the math starts working, as long as I'm selling for the average price I think I can get. And last year when I was doing this more full-time with jeans, not full-time, but I was focusing more on jeans, I was hitting that number and then some. I think in the fall and the spring and the winter, the early spring, I think you can hit one, maybe even 1.5% per day of your listings, assuming that, you know, you have good feedback and great pictures and great headlines with keywords. I mean, all the things that I've talked about in my other videos. You can't just throw a bunch of crap up there and think it's going to do well. And that will offset the summer months where that sell-through percentage is probably going to drop. You know, I don't know that I would sell 1% of my listings per day in July or August or June, for that matter. Those 3 months, August probably starts getting better, but we'll see. It'd be interesting to see that number for a whole year. You're going to be able to see the sell-through percentage for each day and the ongoing sell-through percentage as well. So that's going to be kind of cool, I think, just to kind of figure it out. I mean, there's a lot of anecdotes out there in the reseller community about this sells this or this sells that, and people tell their personal stories. But man, there is a shortage of hard data. I mean, I'm finding, you know, if you really want to find this data on what sells and how often and where and for how much, it's tricky. It's tricky because most people, this is the problem, gang. Most people don't have enough data over enough time to really be statistically meaningful. So anything that they tell you is really just applicable to their results in the past and does not predict the future. And markets change and evolve. What worked 2 years ago, you know, wouldn't necessarily work today, just depending on what it is. So I'm hoping at least you'll see a small snapshot of a jean seller with you know, once I get to 2,500 listings, that's a decent sample. I mean, it's not great. It's not going to tell you everything about the market, but it'll give you an idea about where, you know, things lie and where you can start maybe. And that's all I'm really trying to do. And, you know, we'll see how that goes. But one other thing too, I got a guy messaged me yesterday. He messaged me, it's along the lines of what I was just talking about. He messaged me and said that he's created some sort of software. He's going to create some sort of software that will pull in all the information from like a category, say jeans, and pull in all the brands and what things sell for and median prices and so on. And he's asking me if I'd be interested in the information. And I told him, well, first of all, assuming it's not violating eBay's terms of service, which it might be, they have some rules against what you can pull in and can't pull out and can't. Yeah, I'd be interested in it. And if he has a good product, you know, I'll be interested in maybe doing a review on it for you guys and sharing it. But, you know, it kind of sounded like we're not at that stage yet with it. So I'm not skeptical. I just don't know if that's really good or not. And is it, can you do it per eBay's terms of service? Just don't know. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that if I hear back from them and where that goes. It sounds pretty cool, but who knows if it's even going to work. Rebecca says, excited to follow along with you since jeans are best as common as any item. They come and you're going to make more than my 9 to 5. Yeah, well, it's going to be some work, Rebecca. Don't get me wrong. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I was sitting here thinking about it last night. It's like, man, how big could it be? And, you know, 2,500 listings is doable, but I think I could probably do 3,500 if I outsource completely the photographs and the listing part. Maybe not all the listing part, but the listing part. So could I have 3,500 listings with what I've got around me? Maybe. I mean, that's a lot of jeans. I think I figured out last night, if I sell through at 1%, I'm going to sell like nearly 9,000 pair of jeans this year. whew, I mean, that is a lot of jeans, but you know, we'll see if that number holds or not. But I think I could do more. I think I could do 3,500 listings and source enough for that if the listing part and the photograph part was taken off my plate. There's no way I could do them by myself. I don't even know if I could do them with one other person, maybe two, probably two, honestly. So, you know, it's like anything else. If you want your business to grow, if you want your business to scale, whatever that looks like, maybe you want to scale from doing $100 a month to 200, or from 2 to 500, or you want to scale from having 50 items listed to 100 items. I mean, you got to figure out a way to get the time and resources to do that. And maybe you buy the time by hiring someone, having them do it, or maybe you trade your time for the money. But whatever it is, I mean, if you want to do more business, it requires more time. It's just that simple. There's no way around that. So, you know, keep that in mind. And so that's why I'm going to learn very quickly with this, just exactly how much time it's going to take. I'm just going to show you guys. I'm going to pick the camera up and show you what I bought, so you'll have a visual representation. There's the bags from Goodwill that I bought yesterday. So there's, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's probably about 10 bags there, 11 bags. Also, too, I don't know if you can see those white boards. Those are actually what I shoot photos on. And Michael's had those on sale outside for $1 each. And I picked up 10 of them. And the reason I picked up 10 of them is because, you know, this jean endeavor, when you start laying jeans on that and taking jeans off, laying jeans off, those things start getting little dents. They start getting little cuts in them. They do wear out. So I figured, hey, I'm going to pick up 10 of them. While they're normally like $2 or $3.99. So it was a good deal. It was like a really good deal, 25%, 33% of the total normally. So I went ahead and bought those. You know, so I'll be ready for all these jean listings. So yeah, I mean, that was the bags from yesterday. I got some orders, the orders going out today and so on. So we'll see how that goes as well. But yeah, so that's what's going on. So yeah, when you find your supplies cheap like that, pick them up. Pick them up in bulk if you know you're going to use them. I know that I'm going to use those boards, you know, for photographs and so on, and they do wear out. So why not pick up a whole bunch right now? I was never going to get a better deal on them than that, unless I get them for free practically. And you know, always a good thing. What else is going on? I'm at my goals for eBay for the month already. I had kind of a modest goal because last month was so down from previous month. So I had kind of a modest goal. So I may need to adjust my August goal. I'm almost at my goal for Amazon for the month, which is nice. I don't know if it's going to be another record month or not, but we'll see. It's possible. I just sent some things in Amazon. A couple, one of them sold for $113, which was nice. So yeah, it's going well. The jeans are going great. We're going to start listing. I'm probably going to list a few today that we had in the pipeline. Oh, I wanted to mention that listing, and some of you guys might know, you know, the theory is that if you list things each day on eBay, you will get better sell-through. Like your listings will get seen more often. You'll get pushed up in the search rankings. It could be true. It's probably true, and it can't hurt to do it. But for a lot of you, you know, if I told you today, I said, hey, I need you to list 100 things, you know, or even 50 things in a day, you would think, well, what am I going to list tomorrow or the next day if I go ahead and list them all? So this is my plan. I've split my listing up to start with 100 pair a week and then eventually up to 200 pair a week. But I'm going to list half of them one day of the week and half another day of the week. I think I have it set for Tuesday to list 50 and Saturday to list 50. Now, the reason I did that is because, one, I don't like to sit here and list all day long. I make mistakes when I do that. I get burnt out. I'd rather spend a half a day on it. I figure I can list 50 in 3.5 hours, if I'm going pretty good. So that's basically a half a day. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and list those 50, but I'm going to list them as drafts. So there's something you can do on eBay that'll help you list them as drafts. And then what you can do is you can submit some of the drafts the day you list, and then the next day you can submit some more of the drafts, and the next day some more of the drafts, until you've submitted them all. That way you're always listing new items each day. Hopefully that makes sense. So that way, you can hopefully keep your items pushed up in the search rankings with eBay and so on. So just list them as drafts, save them as drafts, have them completely done. You've done everything but submit, and then just go in and list, 10. I'm going to go in and list, let's see, Tuesday, I'll probably put in 12, 13, 14, 15, and then the next day I'll do 10 or 12, and the next day I'll do 10 or 12. So that way I'm always listing each day. So it'll give me every advantage. If there is an advantage to listing every day on eBay, I will have it. So drafts are key. And, you just got to make sure, in my case, I just got to make sure I put in my inventory numbers and so on the draft. After I create the draft, you cannot put in the inventory numbers from the mobile app. So if you're putting in a seller SKU to keep track of your items, which I highly recommend that's what you do, by the way, you keep a seller SKU in eBay's records as well as your own, then I don't think you can do that in the mobile app. So you have to do that from the web page itself, which means you'll create the drafts, then you go in and put in your SKUs, save, and then, list that way. So hopefully that all made sense. That was a convoluted explanation. Let's see. So yeah, we got about 10 or 11 people watching, which is pretty cool to have this many watching in the middle of the day. I know it's the middle of the day, and I appreciate you guys coming out. So yeah, today is going to be, I got my new channel art done. So if you haven't seen that, when you log on to Prof Sales, you'll see that. I think it looks pretty cool. It's kind of what I was thinking it would be. And new intro little snippet videos. One of them is on the spreadsheet video, and there will be I have a couple others that were created for me. And now the only thing I gotta do is kind of sketch out and figure out my web page, what that's gonna look like, my website. I got a lot of plans around that, but it's on paper and in my head right now. It's not out there yet. I have my domain name, but I'll have to get hosting and all that good stuff. And, so that's going to be cool. And I will definitely share all that with you guys once it's up and running. And what else? Oh, I'm trying to find, if anybody's got a good tip on a good editing software and screen capture software for Windows. I tried Movavi, whatever it's called. For whatever reason, it doesn't like my webcam, which is a really good webcam, a C920 from Logitech. But for whatever reason, it doesn't want to recognize it. And I'm not really sure why. It's saying something's wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm talking to you on it right now. So I don't know why that software won't recognize it. But I need a good Windows 10 screen capture and editing software. I'm ready to move on from Movie Maker. Camtasia is an option, but man, it's like $300. Just try not to put that much money into it. So if you know one, leave it in the comments. Hello, fun stuff. How you doing? Yeah, so if you guys have any questions or anything, type them in the chat about jeans or anything else that's going on. Oh, and tomorrow will be a FBA sourcing day. So as I told you, I'm not forgetting about Amazon. That's still part of my business model, and it's going to be a bigger part. I've got some changes that I'm brewing that I'm mulling over my head with that too. I'm going to talk to my mentor. If you guys don't have a mentor in business and you're serious about being in this business and you want to grow and evolve and become, bigger than you are, more, just whether it's sales volume or listings or platforms or however it is you want to grow and evolve, I highly, highly recommend you find a mentor. Someone who has walked the path that you want to walk. They don't have to be the most successful person in the industry. They don't have to be, they don't have to be completely successful in everything that you want to do. you're going to do it a little differently than they would anyway. So find a mentor. There's plenty of groups out there and the people who will help you. If you can't find a mentor, consider coaching. Consider business coaching. That's something that, I'm lucky I found someone who will mentor me to a point, but the downside to him, there's not a downside to him, but just because he's not a coach, he has to make time for me and other people when he can. And that's totally fine. But man, it's nice when you have someone that you can send off an email to and say, hey, I'm thinking about this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying, hey, not questions like, hey, does this look like a spot on this pair of 7 for All Mankind jeans? That's not a question you're going to ask a coach. But, business questions in terms of, your motivation, like you think to yourself, well, what's motivating me? And then just kind of talking it out with someone can help. What's your plan going forward, your strategy? Having someone to bounce that off of who's been there, and can give you feedback and say, yeah, here's what I know about that. Or, this is what to look out for. This is what you might experience. I think a mentor or a coach is really, really important in this business, because reselling can be a very lonely business. Being an entrepreneur can be a lonely business. Most of us start this by ourselves. And even if our significant other or family member is helping us, they're not around all the time. And it can be kind of lonely. It can be kind of intimidating when, there's just, all this work to do and you're not sure if what you're doing makes sense and there's no one to really talk to about it. It's important to find a coach or a mentor if you can. It's worth an investment if it's a coach, especially if you're at a point where you just don't know what to do next. The basics of this business, you can learn from YouTube. You can learn from people like me. You can learn from other resellers out there that have videos and so on. But you reach a point where that doesn't cut it anymore. I'm considering doing something with my Amazon business, and I've done some research on YouTube and online. And, this is the problem. The information is out there, but the time and energy to pull it all together and to make it good and make sure it's good information, that is a task. And, to have someone who can say to you, this is what's legit, this is what's not, this is the way that people have done it or I've done it, that is huge and worth it if you can have someone like that who's a mentor or a coach to you. So, I'm considering a course. I'm considering paying for a course that will help me take my business in another direction. And it's from someone who's much further down the path than me, who has thought out and experienced a lot of the thing. I'll still make my own mistakes, but I will have a lot of the answers a lot of my questions answered. Plus, I'll be able to keep going back to them and saying, I'll be part of a community saying, all right, well, this came up. How do we handle that? So it's just like having when you get trained on something at a job and the trainer leaves, who do you go to? Who do you go to when you have a question? When something comes up the trainer didn't cover? You have to have someone like that. If you don't, it's frustrating. It's inefficient for your business. You can go searching for the answer, and sometimes you can find it, but sometimes you can't. And sometimes it's not an answer so much you need as just affirmation that what you're doing, it makes sense. You can find out how to peel labels off of an item from Goodwill, from YouTube or online, but that's not enough when you go to someone and you say, I went to someone just recently and said, hey, I'm considering listing and having 2,500 jeans listed on eBay and trying to prove that it could be a full-time income. And this is someone I trust and someone that I value their opinion. And I said, am I crazy for doing that? And, he gave me feedback about it, about, what he thought. And what he thought was legit and wasn't legit. And I appreciate that. He didn't try to dissuade me necessarily or persuade me. He just said, this is what I'm thinking about that kind of endeavor. This is what I'm thinking. And I appreciate that. And I'll have other conversations with him, I'm sure, especially as I go along, and having that mentor, that coach behind you can be huge. That can be so critical to your development. I mean, everyone out there, guys, who's really, really successful in business, they didn't do it alone. They might have worked it alone, but they got input. They did research. They got information from others. I mean, nobody knows it all. You're not born knowing everything you need to know. So the only way you can do that, and you're not born knowing if what you're planning makes sense or not. It's good to get a second opinion sometimes. And you might discount that opinion and say, I'm not going to do that. And that's fine. I was listening to Steven Peterson's podcast the other day, E-commerce Momentum, which is really good set of podcasts, by the way, if you've never heard them. And, he talked about, the best lessons I've learned in business are learning what not to do, learning what doesn't work, and that's key. Learning that, I don't need to go do that because it's not going to get me where I want to go. Whether it was just faulty logic or a bad idea, or maybe it was just going in a direction that he didn't want to do. Like, for instance, if you told me, Jason, the best way to sell on eBay or the only way to sell on eBay is to sell collectibles. I don't know anything about collectibles, and I like collectibles, but I don't collect anything really. I don't have a passion for collectibles. I can appreciate people who do because they get genuine joy from items that they find, but that would not be a smart business model for me. I mean, I don't think I'd be very successful at it. Plus I would be starting from the ground, and I would have to learn everything about whatever niche of collectibles I was, trying to get involved with. So it wouldn't make sense for me to do that. On the other hand, there's probably people up there saying, well, I don't care anything about jeans. Fair enough. I can understand that, and I'm pretty dispassionate about things in business anyway. I look at jeans as a means to an end. But I kind of I like finding the cool ones from time to time. Like I found a cool, I never find it in those bags. I was going to show it to you. I found a cool pair of Evisu, EVISU. There's a brand for you, but I guess this now qualifies as a haul video. But yeah, those are kind of cool. I think they're a Japanese brand. They have some really cool designs on them. I wouldn't wear them, but I think they're cool looking. And they usually will sell for a few bucks. I think they're made in Japan, if I'm not mistaken, but they were at least designed there originally. So, that was cool for me, but that was one out of 80, 83 or 84 yesterday, whatever it was I found. 80. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't all of them. Mr. Sadie says, bad info can really damage your business. I research everyone I listen to. Sure, absolutely. Just as long as you just got to recover from it. What's the best way to look for? Jordan says Evisu used to bring huge dollars. Yeah, not as much now, Jordan. But some of them do. I've sold, I think maybe 2 pair in the last year, and they were good. They were, like $40 maybe. I don't know. Nothing crazy, but pretty good. What's the best way to look for jeans brands? Do you look at the back for tag or inside tag? Or do you just know they're looking immediately? It's hard to find the brand sometimes quickly. Well, Silent Chaosification. That's a cool name, by the way. I'm not sure if you were here earlier, but Karin, my girlfriend, is going to be making a video that will be based around tips for, how to go and source jeans in a store. Not so much about brands to source, but about the actual way to go through them and look. But most of the time, to answer your question today, a short answer, most of the time the brands are in the back waistband. And if they're hung, which most of them are in my area, it's pretty quick to look through them. You can just go through them and see the brands. I go by brand first, not look. I mean, quite honestly, there's probably someone out there who could look at the back of a pair of jeans and the design and tell you what brand they are. But man, the time it would take to become that much of an expert, and even there to fool you, because brands knock each other off. I mean, there's who is it? I can't think of the name of the brand. I want to say they start with a V as well, but they kind of knock off Vigos. It's Vigold, or maybe they're even a division of Vigos. I'm not even sure. But if you look at them, I don't buy the Vigolds, or there's not a brand that I pick up, but I do pick up Vigos from time to time. And Vigolds look very similar, and they will fool you quite often. Yesterday I saw one. There's lots of people who lots of people who copy the horseshoe on the back of True Religions. And there was some brand I saw yesterday. I never heard of it before. God, I can't think of the name of. I didn't pick it up, but it was a pretty good copy of True Religion. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And they were obviously trying to, play on people's love for that brand, for True Religion, which, makes sense. It's a higher end brand and goes for good money, sells for a lot of money new sometimes, $200-300 sometimes. And, it's smart business. True Religion didn't trademark the horseshoe. I don't think they could. So, you got to look at the name. I look at the name first. And if the name is not any good, there's just no reason to really continue there. If it's some name I haven't seen before, occasionally I will look it up. If it looks like the jean is good quality or has a cool design on it, maybe that might appeal to someone. But overall, brand first, then size, and then design, and then maybe fit would kind of be the order. Where is the best place for you to source in your area? Goodwill, Salvation Army, or retail stores? All the above. Goodwill tends to have the same prices. As I mentioned earlier in the video, their prices tend to be around $4.99 unless they find a pair they really fall in love with, and they'll price it higher. But for the most part, they're $4.99. Salvation Army is a little tricky because they will price some pair higher, but they always have a lot of clothing sales where they'll say this tag is marked down, this color tag is marked down. And then on Wednesdays, the ones near me do half price, which is great, but they usually don't have anywhere near the selection of Goodwill. I don't know why. People just drop off more to Goodwills in my area. And retail stores, of course, if you can find brand new that's marked down, I have a Nordstrom rack near me, for instance, and found a couple True Religions. Oh, no, wait. Was it True Religion? It was a True Religion and a Rock Revival that were marked down massively, marked down to $22, brand new. And they had both been normally over 100, for those particular styles, and picked them both up and sold them with no problem. There's money to be made at True Religion outlets, and they have good sales if you're willing to pay up. Yeah, I don't know where there's one near me, Jordan. Nordstrom Rack, like I said, near me is the only place where I tend to find them lower. I don't even think the Marshalls near me have True Religion usually, but I could be mistaken on that. I don't really shop them that often enough to know. The Marshalls do have other good jeans sometimes marked down. But you got to catch them on a big markdown, guys, because these companies like Marshalls and Nordstrom Rack, what they will do is they will put kind of a bogus original retail price on the item. Like, I'll give you an example. This happened to me earlier this year, and I asked this question in one of the Facebook groups. I went into Marshalls, and I found a merino wool Ralph Lauren polo purple label. And if you know anything about Ralph Lauren, you know that purple label can go for some really good money. It's one of their higher ends. Usually they're made in Italy. I think they make them a couple other places too, actually. But this sweater was marked down to like $60 or $70, which normally you'd see like, why the heck are you paying that? Well, it had a tag on it that said I don't know exactly how they worded it, but their original retail on the sweater was $995. And I got to tell you, this sweater was nothing fancy. I mean, it was literally just a solid color, merino wool, V-neck sweater. No design, no stripes, no patterns, no checks, no plaids, nothing. Just, I mean, it was just a sweater. I mean, it was nothing to it. It wasn't thick. It was thin. But, you know, the people in the groups, I was like, man, is this enough to even buy this and sell it? And the people in the Facebook group said, you know, no, it's not enough, because if you want to get into like a Ralph Lauren sweater, you know, then, you know, and I searched the solds, they were selling for like 60 or 70 bucks. So this sweater that Marshall's said was worth $1,000 originally, and maybe it was in like some high-end boutique on, you know, the Miracle Mile in Chicago or somewhere in New York or somewhere like that. I don't know, but it was not worth $1,000. I mean, I got excited when I saw it, but then I started realizing, man, this just doesn't make sense. I mean, this thing doesn't sell for anywhere near that. And it probably, most people who would buy that item probably bought it for more like $300 or $400, not $1,000. So you got to watch Marshalls and Nordstrom Rack and these people. They will put that original manufacturer price on there super high sometimes to make you think you're getting a good deal. That's the reason they do it. So check your solds, check your completeds on, you know, eBay or, you know, whatever site you're on, or Amazon if you're selling clothing on Amazon, and make sure that the market is really supporting that kind of value. But anyway, thank you, Tanya, for you're getting really good at these live hangouts. Yeah, I know. It's like, you know, I literally click 2 buttons and here I am. Okay, so speaking of that, I should probably go because this one's getting kind of long. But I appreciate you guys coming on and checking in with me. The jeans are going great. I'm going to give you guys updates. Again, I don't know if it'll be an everyday thing, but any day that I do a vlog, I will try to do a jean update and let you know. I sold 6 pair yesterday. Gosh, man, my memory is terrible today. I don't know what is wrong with me. 6 or 7, which was more than 1% of my my listed total, which was great. And so that's really what I want. So we'll see how it goes with if that percentage will hold, that sell-through percentage. Someone earlier, I think it was Mark, was talking about he expected to sell 80% of his jeans a month. And I'd like to hear more about, you know, his numbers if he's doing that. That seems really high, 80%. You know, Tanya, what percentage of your items do you sell? And I know you don't necessarily sell jeans, but what percentage a month do you sell? I mean, I know you're listing and selling and, you know, but if you listed 100 items, what percentage do you think you would sell by the end of the month? If you could type that in the chat, you know, I don't know what that would be for you, different types of items. I am not a math person. All right, Tanya, that's why I made it very easy. If you have 100 items, how many of them would you sell? And that's your percentage. That's all you got to do. Oh, man. Tanya is not a math person. She explained this to me the other day. You'll have to teach me how to fail. All right, fair enough. I'll send you a Facebook message. Ron says 14%. Okay. Yeah, and you know what gets crazy is last year I was keeping track of a number called sold to list, where basically I was saying, all right, well, what percentage each month am I selling of the items versus what I list? So if I list 100 and I sell 50, I'm selling 50%. And those numbers were pretty high. I think I hit like 85% one month sold to list. So that was kind of cool because it kind of told you as you keep listing, you're going to keep selling more and more, which kind of ties in with that whole idea that eBay gives you a bump if you're listing every day. So, you know, consider that. I would use that to your advantage. You know, and listing every day is probably just a good idea in general. So the bleach is getting to me. Okay, well, it's the bleach fume, so we'll give Tanya a pass. We'll give her a pass and we'll get her a calculator. Thanks for answering. I look forward to our video. I'm in NC2. Stay away from my stores. Oh, what part of NC are you in, Silent? If you can let us know, if you don't mind, not okay. Yeah, give us your home address. No, but just kind of what area. I probably will stay away from your stores, but maybe not. Sorry, you're just gonna have to compete. It's all about competition, right? That sounds easy. Let me check my eBay sold for last month. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good way to do it. And you can compare that to how many you have listed this month, and it'll give you a rough figure, assuming you haven't listed or sold an unusual number this month. So, you know, that's one way to do it. But yeah, know your numbers, guys. That's important. Knowing your numbers, you know if you're making any money, you know if you're successful. It's the only way to really track anything. But okay. All right. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for this live vlog, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. It went way longer than I thought. So if it went too long, my apologies. You know me. I like to talk. It's just how I am. So I hope you guys have a great, oh wait, 35 out of 214. So 16%. 16%, Tanya. That sounds pretty good to me. I mean, that means you're selling 0.5% a day, basically 1% every 2 days, almost somewhere around there. That seems pretty good. You know, and the real key for Tanya would be, or you guys, is all right. So you're selling 16%. So let's say next month you have. She says that's horrible. Well, I mean, I'm thinking about a retail store. You know, I used to run retail stores for a couple major retailers. We were not selling. I don't think we were selling 16% of our store every day, or every month. Well, I don't know. Were we? Yeah, maybe we were. Maybe we were selling maybe 20. Now I think about it, every month. Yeah, every month. Sure, could be. I bet my Amazon's a ton better. Yes, Amazon probably is faster and quicker and all those good things, but just because of the difference in marketplaces and buyer expectations and the type of items you're sending in and all kinds of reasons. But you can compare yourself, Tanya, is the point, to you could compare next month or this month after it's done to what you did last month. And you can see, all right, well, if my numbers are higher or lower, what's the cause of that? And by the way, guys, the cause of it may not always be you. You know, my jean sales fell off in the summer, but that's because of people going on vacations. People are not thinking about jeans because it's hot. It's not because all of a sudden I became a crappy jean seller. So you have to, you know, you have to consider that too. You have to consider why something changes, not just that it changed and you're the reason. Sometimes you're not the reason, but you need to be able to always identify the reason if you can and adapt your business if need be. All right, guys, so that is truly going to do it this time. And right as we have 20 viewers, man, we always get a lot of people right at lunchtime. It must be people watching on their lunch break or cell phones or whatever. Guys, go out there and knock it out of the park the rest of today and Friday. I'm sure I'll probably see you with another video. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and business is booming and just, you know, kill it. And as always, you know, hey, Prof Sales saying good sales to you.